What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Champagne Leatherwork. I'm Monty Champagne, and today we're going to be making one of these. All right, so welcome back. Today we're going to be making my other simple card wallet. This one is called the Siph, S-I-P-H, and it is not much to it. Super simple. This is my most minimalistic design. So when designing this one, I wanted something that could be as simple as possible and still be a wallet. The idea behind this one is that when you're going to like a show or maybe out to just like a little event or something, you want to just bring your license and maybe a card or two with you. You can bring the Sieph, and that's all it's supposed to do. It's supposed to feel nice and comfy in your pocket and look good while doing it. We are going to be making this one today out of, you already know,
beautiful brown bridle.
And this is Wicket & Craig 3.5 to 4 ounce English bridle. I've used this a lot so far. This is the leather that I have currently, and we're going to make this one out of this. I don't know. There's not much more to say about that. So I'm just going to get right to it. All right, so just going to line the pattern up with this piece of leather. It's square, so I'm not super worried about it. Normally I wouldn't line it up like this, as I said before. And I'm just going to draw my pattern out. Now, I'm only going to draw one of the holes. So you might be wondering why I didn't draw both of these holes on my little leather here. And it's because sometimes if you draw both holes beforehand, you might punch one a little crooked than the other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out first. I'm going to fold it over, and then, well, that's after I punch this hole out, right? So I'm going to cut this hole out, cut this whole thing out. I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to draw and trace this hole that I cut out on the inside of this one, because even though that might still not be perfect, it's going to be way closer than if I try to draw these two separately. I don't know why, it just always happens that way. So, quick tip. I noticed that my blade on here is a little dull. I could run it on my strop to help sharpen it up a little bit, but I've had this blade for a while, and sharp blades are going to be your best friend when you're cutting things, especially small stuff. So I'm just going to replace this one because I have plenty. It is actually amazing how much of a difference a sharp blade can make on your project and how good it feels. Alright, so now I have these holes punched. I'm going to just draw my ruler across them to where I can just barely see the holes. Take my knife, and I'm going to run it right down. That'll give me a nice straight line across that. Alright, so there's a hole in there. Now I'm going to fold this over and draw a hole on the inside. Actually, what I think I'm going to do here, I'm going to take some double-sided sticky tape. I'm going to put it right here for now. I'm going to bend that over, and then I'm just going to put the punch in there like I did before, but it's going to be perfectly lined up, and then I won't have to worry about it. So when the day comes that I get clicker dies made to punch out my work, this will probably be the first wallet that I do, and that is because these little holes here are incredibly obnoxious to punch out and get perfect. If I have a clicker die, all I have to do is just punch out the whole thing, and these are already done, and I can line it up perfect, no problem at all. Now with it folded over, I'm going to line up exactly where I was before and just do the same thing. There we have it. Now that hole is pretty much perfect. It's not perfect because it's not a clicker die, but it's as close as I'm going to get to it. I'm going to take off these pieces of tape because they've served their purpose. So because this is going to be folded over, I'm going to edge bevel the insides and the top pockets and burnish these up really quick and get those looking good. Well, my dumbass wasn't recording for I don't know how long on this camera. You know, we do what we do, and that's what we do. Okay, we are all beveled up. Now we're gonna burnish these tiny little itty bitty corners. Feels great. It feels great. So I have made this project with a trim allowance, and I've made it the same as my stitching distance from the edge. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to draw my trim allowance line now before I glue it, which seems kind of counterproductive, but I'm gonna do that now. And then I'm gonna go take this over to my stamp. I'm gonna put the stamp here so I can kind of see where it's gonna go, because I don't have a template made for this one yet. And then I'm gonna stamp it, and then we're gonna glue it together, then trim it. We got that stamp up in there, and now I'm gonna put some glue on this baddie, and we're gonna glue it up. Alright, so there's those trim allowance lines. I'm just gonna cut on those right now. And doing that helps you get a nice, smoother, flatter, more consistent edge when you're finishing these things. It helps ensuring that when you go to sand it and bevel it and burnish it, that everything is kind of nice and flat and it's not like crooked. So now we're going to draw the punch lines for the stitches. What we are going to do though is we're going to have all these edges rounded. So I'm going to punch the edges, which I honestly probably should have done before I drew those lines, but whatever. And then we are going to drop the stitching holes and then start stitching. So the edges are punched. Now we are going to punch the stitching holes. Sweet. It's all punched. Now we're gonna do some stitching. So the thread I've been using for my projects has been Ritza Tiger thread, 0.6 millimeter. I found that I was using 0.8 for a while, but then I didn't really like it because the thread was a little too thick for me. So 0.6 I think is where I'm going to sit now, because this is like, I like this. I also like 0.6 because when you backstitch with it, it doesn't look as prominent as some of the other thicknesses do, so it feels like it's a little bit easier to hide. So we are almost about done here. I'm just gonna bevel these, sand them with my hand. I don't need to go through the machine sander because we had that trim allowance that let this be nice and flat here. So I'm gonna edge bevel these now. There you have it. That is the Siph wallet, minimalist card wallet, champagne leatherwork. There it is. All right, sorry this video was a little bit rushed. I am currently on vacation and I want to get back to vacation mode. So I'm just gonna tell you really quick, if you could hit that subscribe button, I would appreciate it. But you don't have to do that. You never have to do that. But I just wanna let you know that yesterday might have been my birthday. And now that you have that knowledge, if you don't subscribe, that might make you, I'm not gonna say it, but you know what you are. You know who you are. Please hit it. Happy birthday to me.